Hello, fellow romance book lovers. Welcome to my channel. My name is Kat. I read mostly romance novels and love to share them with you here on my channel. I'm so happy to have you, and if you're a current subscriber, thanks so much for hanging out with me and sticking in there. My channel is growing and it makes me so happy to be able to connect with you guys and talk about our favorite things, which are romance novels. I have a great book for you today, but I wanted to talk about what's going on in the background first. I film in an extra room in our house. It's kind of like an office. I mean, quite frankly, it's like the room where everyone puts their crap. I was trying to figure out how to organize the few paperbacks that I do have. I don't always buy paperbacks. I read on a Kindle, but I am lucky enough to win giveaways and get sent some paperbacks from authors, and I do like to buy them once in a while. So I don't have a huge amount of them, but I was trying to figure out how to organize them. So I took them all out of the wooden crate that I usually have them in. I've seen fellow readers organize in this kind of rolling cart that I got actually at Michael's. I think you can get it on Amazon. I think IKEA makes one. I happened to get it at Michael's because I used my 40% off coupon. And so I took them out and I was going to organize it, and then I stopped because I was like, how do I do it? Really, it's not that deep. It's only a 3-tier little cart, or do I want to do it by color? So I left them out. And then I walked away and started cooking dinner last night, and then came and sat down to film this morning. And I thought, oh, well, I either clean it all up, not like it's a big mess, or I just leave it in the background because it's very apropos for what we're going to talk about today. So I just left it. Let me know in the comments how you organize your books on your shelves. I know that some people do it by author, some people like it more aesthetically pleasing, so they do it by color of the cover. I'm just interested. Let me know. So let's get to the book for today, which is You, Me, and the Secret by Elle Luckett. I have talked about all of these novellas, the Club Stigmata Novellas that Elle has written here on my channel. Oh, wait, of course, as I sit down to film, I've got both Rue, our kitten, and Macy sitting here with me, so you might hear them playing again in the background. If I can catch her, I'll show her to you guys because she's gotten so big, but she is so mischievous and into everything. So cross your fingers that she doesn't jump up here and knock all this down or something. Anyway, like I was saying, I've read all of Elle's Club Stigmata novellas. I will include them in the description box below for the other videos, and then potentially up in the cards so you can see. Oh my gosh, they just, as a novella, so it's a little bit shorter, right? But the stories, it doesn't lack anything. You get a full story with these novellas. I have loved them. And in my opinion, they've gotten better and better and better as Elle has written them. This is the fourth one, I believe. If you weren't aware, Elle Luckett is a pen name for Lou Stock. I am a huge fan of Lou, and that transfers over to her Elle Luckett books as well. She's also a designer, and I love her covers. She designed a few of the covers that are back there. I just adore them. And of course, with these Club Stigmata novellas, the covers are amazing. They embody the main male character perfectly. You, Me, and the Secret is about Shauna and Asher. A little background on Club Stigmata is it's a club in New Orleans. It's a BDSM club. That is part of it. Elle always puts a snippet in the beginning of the book to talk about that. I think that she has written these so well. She has melded the lifestyle that I don't know anything about except what I read in the books, but she has melded that with relationship and love and romance seamlessly and perfectly, in my opinion. It is, the BDSM lifestyle is a part of it, but also there's the strong love story. That's the undercurrent. That is really the meat of it all. It just so happens that there is that is their flavor, if you get what I mean. So Shauna works at Club Stigmata, and she actually met Asher previously at a club in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and now has moved back to New Orleans to be with her family. She's from New Orleans and lives there. Like I mentioned, Shauna works at Club Stigmata. She's also a person that takes part in what goes on there. She was super likable. I really had a soft place in my heart immediately for her. Shauna is a single parent. She has a daughter, Ashley, who's about 5 years old. Her parents help her a lot with Ashley. I loved that part of the book with that close family knit dynamic. Really supportive, really loving. Shauna goes to work one night and is behind the bar at Stigmata, and all of a sudden she hears this voice, and she's stopped in her tracks, and it's Asher. Who's Asher, you ask? Asher is a dom from Tennessee who she met and spent a lot of time with while she lived there, and all of a sudden he shows up at the Stigmata in New Orleans. This is what Shauna says about Asher. Asher had been the first dom I'd met once I joined and worked my way through the Gatlinburg's introductory program. He attracted my eye immediately. He was tall and had a presence about him. I'd watched him for 3 nights before he'd caught me and approached to talk. His voice had been liquid sex, deep, smoky, and accented with that Tennessee twang. He'd been 28 when I'd met him, and he'd known that, at 21, I was a novice, and so he'd taken me under his wing. I'd been helpless against his charm, my admiration and lust soon twisting into a love I couldn't contain, a love he had cherished and nurtured, a love he'd once reciprocated. Okay, there it is. There's the hook that I was looking for that kind of makes me sink my teeth into the story. We find out through the story that Asher and Shauna had a very deep connection. He lets it known that he's back for her, that she has been on his mind, never left his mind over the past 5 years, but she's like, yeah, are you sure about that? She was absolutely devastated and heartbroken when they parted ways. I was really drawn in by that, by her heartbreak. Of course, felt like, what's he gonna do about it? Like, is he worth his salt? I wasn't sure yet. I wanted to see how hard he was gonna work for her. And this is from Shauna's perspective. Covering his mouth with his hand, Asher sat back on the bench, looking mortified. His skin paled, and emotion finally broke through the stony set of his features enough to crumble them. That was the night I packed my car and drove back to New Orleans. There was no going back from that for me. I wasn't sure I could ever forgive you. I loved you so much. Part of me still did, but I wouldn't and couldn't tell him that. So there's this turmoil and this expectation for his life, and he's kind of battling that. She comes to his house to talk to him about it, and she sees something that literally made my stomach drop, and that's when she packed her bags and left. I always highlight a new word that I learn in a book. Don't you do that? Like, am I the only person that does that? So Shauna talks about chicory coffee, which I had no idea what that was. I didn't know if that was a Southern thing, if that was what that was. So of course I had to look it up. And do you know what chicory coffee is? Chicory coffee is chicory root, so it's a plant of some sort, right? It's roasted and ground and prepared then like coffee. So of course, immediately I want to try it. I haven't yet, but I will report back in on that. Ashley is Shauna's daughter, and oh my gosh, did Elle nail a 5-year-old little girl who's obsessed with Frozen. I mean, what 5-year-old little girl isn't? They all are. I don't know what kind of like voodoo magic Frozen has in its movie, but it certainly absolutely draws in these kids, and like it doesn't let them go for years. And I loved that Ashley was obsessed with Frozen, It was so cute. It was so realistic. And this was a really cute moment with Shauna, Ashley, Shauna's family, and Asher. Ashley blew into the house at full speed, squealing in a musical tone that Uncle Preston had stolen a taste of Grandpa's brisket. She'd been so focused on calling out her uncle, she didn't see Asher until she rounded the island and almost ran right into him. Then her eyes fell on the Sven standing beside him, and they grew to the size of saucers as her hands clasped in front of her with pure delight. Glassy-eyed, Ashley looked to me first and then back to the stranger, who now watched her with awe and wonder. There was only a moment of silence before Ashley closed the distance between her and Asher. Wrapping herself around his leg, she sighed dreamily and said with no hesitation, "Kristoff, you came." Okay, have you seen Frozen and you know who Kristoff is and Sven is? Oh my God. And Asher has shown up to the house and he brought this huge Sven with him. Oh my God, it was so sweet. And then it goes on. The world stopped for me when I finally saw Asher and Ashley in the same room together. Asher had managed to do just the right thing, find just the right gift, and now Ashley was wrapped around his legs, looking up at him with such adoration it made my heart melt. No kidding, me too. There were passages in this book that I just got swept away with the beautiful writing, and it just made me swoon, and I just loved it, and this is why I love Elle's writing. Here's the first one. We walked into the lobby of the building, hand in hand, the silence that embraced us since my agreement, still a companion that was reluctant to leave us. Okay, poetic. All they're doing is walking into a building. And this is how beautiful the words paint the scene for us. Loved it. And here's the next one. Asher Morris had my limits memorized like a treasure map. He had my trust tucked away in his pocket, and once again held my heart in the palm of his hand. I was helpless against him. Fighting any of it was pointless. So we've talked about their lifestyle, and oh my God. Like I said, I don't know much about all that, just what I read, and wow. I mean, it was very, very steamy. And I have to say that kind of edgy too, it was very intense. And the connection between them you feel in spades, and the activities that they're doing and how they're going about it and the way Elle writes it. It's like, I mean, I had to I felt like my Kindle was burning up in my hands. It's steamy. But I loved that I learned not only about chicory coffee, but some other, things. And they by far, to me, have been the hottest couple of the Stigmata series. I mean, they just, for some reason, they just were just a lot. In addition to being super steamy in parts, there were moments in this book that made me tear up and want to cry. Because they're like really sweet moments and endearing moments. I just loved it so, so much. Let me know if you have read You, Me, and the Secret or any of Elle's other books. I would love to hear your thoughts. While you're here, I welcome you to subscribe and also give the video a thumbs up. When you do that, it will help this video get shown to more people here on YouTube. And also, don't forget to come over to my social media, which is Kat Reads Romance on Facebook and Instagram. Come say hi to me over there. If you want to grab the book, don't forget I always put a direct to Amazon link in the description box below so you can grab it. And thanks so much for being here today, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.